Get 'em. Up here in him is like venom. Every serum they send him, they can't stop his addendum. This is my referendum. Ray Kane's momentum is monumental, and the Yomi team is coming with him. Get 'em. Pass me them things, I spaz out on the game, mic in hand. I'm Vicodin, numb to the bullshit when I'm writing, man. The Christ in him got me playing Messiah when I spit science through the wire. But I'm not K West, just on a straight quest to see K Michelle's breast. Okay, what the hell, I'm just a pillar to my lower desires, acquired by the porn of America's fire that inspired disrespect of my queen's entire God and status. Got a community in madness, havoc. We thinking we niggas, not niggas. We thinking we got figures, but them dollars not backed enough. I'm not backing up. The conglomerate is dominant, all the music is prominent. Everything else pay homage to ancestral promises. And I'm just getting started. And to all you whack motherfuckers, my condolences to the dearly departed. When I rap, a God speaks. It's like you feel the heartbeat of society. My variety of calliope is undeniably strong, black in its entirety. Y'all ready to ride with me? Bars on bars.
What up, though? We are back. Wealthy Thoughts. Sacha, what's up?
Hey.
Eric, what's up?
What up? What up, though?
So I'm
sorry. Praise the Lord. How are you?
I got my brother Eric in the house with me and Sacha tonight. Eric is gonna talk to us about a few things. How everything been going, Sacha? I know we took about a month off. A lot of business going on. I tell you about
life, but I'm here, still standing. Okay. So no complaints.
Okay, cool. As you can see, my background, I don't have my books and stuff that I normally have in the background because I'm in the process of packing and moving. So in that process, and then also I had that class, the conference that I went to in New Orleans. I guess not call it a conference, more than learning sessions.
Congratulations.
For firefighters, programs called EDI. It's a 5-year program, and so that was my 3rd year. I'll be going to my 4th year next year. So Eric, we gonna talk to you today. Eric is a world-renowned insurance agent,
You funny.
And also he is a minister of music, a pastor. And he has his own ministry. And so today, Eric is going to talk to us about the business of church, the business of ministry, and how to keep your stuff right, tight, and still try to keep yourself in line with what God's word says.
Yes, Lord.
So Eric, tell us about what you got going on right now.
So let's see. So I've been in ministry or been in church all my life, from the non-denominational position to the Baptist position. Seen it. I don't think it's too much I haven't seen. And then over the years, because I've been living, I'm about 56. What we have going on specifically right now is we have a Zoom on Saturday. The name of the ministry is called Back to Heaven Family Worship Center. It's by Zoom. It's not necessarily on a platform as of yet. A lot of people know me because I've been in ministry, so they join in as they have availability, or we do have some congregational members that want to follow, have decided for me to be their pastor, strictly have come by the Lord, because I was trying to say, no, you need to have it at a regular building in a regular location. And oddly enough, multiple families have said the same thing, but yet they haven't met each other. And they're also congregational members, or community rather, that are in different states. So I actually go visit from time to time those family members and check on them as their pastor. And which is kind of funny to me. But God is always doing stuff. So you just have to, follow the breadcrumbs. Other than that, I do a Praise God. It's live from a secret location on Facebook every Friday. People seem to be having a great time with that. Trying to figure out where I'm at. I have no idea why it's blowing up, but that's blowing up because they're trying to figure out where I'm at more than they listen to the message. But they were like, yeah, the message is dope, but I'm just trying to figure out where you at, because you always be somewhere. And I'd be like, okay, well, hey, there you go. So Randy, a lot of this stuff is happening as a result of just being obedient. The stuff with the financial service stuff, my wife been in banking um, almost 30 years. I've been in the insurance, investments, all that kind of stuff industry for another 25, 30 years. So it's really just about giving game plans. So whatever fits the person's boat. My job is to sit down with you, educate, teach, and or show or make recommendations to help you make correct assessments about your life spiritually and about your life, whether it be marriage, whether it be finances, or whether it be children, whatever the case may be. So that's what we got going on at the moment.
Oh, all right. Hey, Sacha. So I brought Eric on the show before. He talked to us strictly about insurance. This was probably early on, maybe second or third episode. And I'm bringing him back, which is, about a year later since we took that long hiatus. And then you joined me. And so now Eric.
I like Sacha. I heard some stuff about Sacha. I like Sacha.
He ain't heard nothing about you, Sacha. Keeping up mess.
No, I watched one of those videos y'all did. Oh, yes, I did.
Sacha has become a little bit of a superstar.
Oh, she a superstar. I was like, oh.
Stop it.
I've had a lot of people ask me about Sacha. But Eric, so tell me something. I know you're not in a brick and mortar building.
No.
But what I do know is that that's something that you are looking for land and things like that. Tell me the business side of you trying to build this ministry, and not trying, but building this ministry. What is the business side of that?
So let's go back, because me and you talk about it a lot. So most of the churches, if you have a congregation, or if you have a big, small, or large, or if you have a different, what we use the word denomination, on certain platforms or aspects, they have certain backing that they can go and do different things. For me, when God said this, to step out and launch out like this, it strictly is out of my own pocket, or out of, if someone decides to give, they give. If not, I handle it by having my own business to do my own thing, and I use a portion of that revenue to fund the ministry and do what we need to do in that regard. Because again, if you're a small ministry, it's like what typically the church or people or congregation feel like, and we've heard it before, that the church should be a place where I can go get resources. Okay, great. But if that church is starting up and there's no resources, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
So then, because I have the other side, the financial side, then the job is to teach the congregation so that they can be interdependent, which means you have money and income that comes out of your pocket, you're working or have a business. What are you doing with that? And that generally helps you to be self-sustaining, because you're strong. The goal is to make sure that every family is strong entity operating by themselves, even if they're not able to go to a physical location. And not that the old model is bad, but because of COVID, whether they want to say God did it, or I don't believe God did it, but anyway, God get the glory in terms of there's always something working out of it. We're moving out of the four walls to be able to be effective. The business side of church is the business. It is a business. People gonna say it's a ministry. These are play on words. There's the aspect that you need to handle, bookkeeping, record keeping, because if you have to pay taxes and do all that stuff, and you should do all of that. You should know the rules to the game, or the rules of engagement. I'll go on this when we're talking about paying tithes or something, a portion of that. I was just talking to a couple of our congregational members. One actually got blessed to go to Michigan. They're down in Michigan in Pontiac working, and she wanted to give me a large check. And I said, I'll take the 10 grand. And of course, I'm going to spend it and do whatever we need to do with it on. And it's on record. I'm saying that, of course, I'm going to spend it and use it. Here's the key. But if you're not taking care of yourself first, I'm going to send it back to you. And she was like, what? Why? Because I don't need that particular spirit coming at you afterwards saying to me that I'm not using it or doing what I'm supposed to do with it. Because your first house is supposed to be your house where you reside. If you're giving 10% to the church, you should be giving 10% to yourself.
Okay.
And a lot of this has over the years, the information has always been out there, but it has come and went, or a lack of information being disappeared, or so to speak. So this leaves everybody to have wrong understandings or wrong emphasis. If you kind of struggling financially in certain aspects, then maybe you don't need to have a Netflix and all of the top gear and all that kind of stuff. Maybe you actually need to plan it out. And it's not that you can't do it. I think there's a scripture that says, I'm paraphrasing. We know many ways seemingly are right to a man, but except the Lord direct the path, you don't get it. And so this is where we get into Sasha and Randy, a lot of different misnomers, misunderstandings, and mishaps. And I've had where people have given me offerings or tithes, and I've given it back to them. Now, if you do your research and study what tithe is, and we can all break that down later, you understand where it initially came from. But again, still, if I'm getting an offering from someone, this is me. I want to make sure that you know what I'm doing with it. But because now I'm not looking at the church as my sole entity to make money, right? I believe you should have other streams of income, whether it be books, whether it be your profession, whatever it is. And then now, because we're in this arena now, where you have a lot of giftings and talents, that you can use all of those, so it doesn't stop one stream of income for you to be able to make money. So and so that has actually increased membership, because they like, I ain't never heard nobody talk like that. I say, well, I'm not tied to anyone, and I'm not desperate or struggling. And not saying that that can't happen, and I'm not. Everybody has they walk, they got to walk out. I'm just saying, from the natural financial standpoint, if I pay God, or and it's a you're not paying God, you're paying the place where you're getting taught from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because God doesn't need your money. God
Yes.
needs your availability. So then I should also be paying myself first. That is the form of self-respect. And if we're not doing that, then we need to address, why are you giving me 30%, but you're not giving yourself 1, 2, 3, 5%. So now we know we have to fix our issues of self-esteem and our relationship to a tree that we call legal tender, that we call paper, that we call money.
Gotcha. So you were talking about books and things like that. I know you have multiple things that you do. Sasha, Eric is also a world-renowned singer and choir, not director, but choir leader. So
I do a little something.
tell me about how you integrate that into the church.
Uh, so again, I've always been singing all my life, so the opportunities avail itself to sing and do stuff. I did a couple of tours of trying to get on the famous stage of Sunday Best. Uh, the people that I sung with got on, but of course, some of that is political, so I didn't get that turn. Zabion was on, and some of the other guys were on that were really good. I might do another tour, who knows, or another America's Got Talent. I don't know. We see how God wants to do that. But just been singing. And through singing, my family background is singing. My father was an R&B singer, fantastic Johnny C. And then my mother sang, and then my grandfather played drums. He had a famous jazz band in Memphis, Tennessee. Al Green used to, as they would say, cut his teeth, and other various people. So legally, I got the singing and the musician stuff legally. As of now, uh, I do some singing, still working on some stuff like that. The goal is to eventually open up music schools.
Okay.
Um, and the goal is to have them in Dallas, Texas, Detroit, Michigan, St. Louis, Missouri, Lagos, Nigeria, Sydney, Australia, Alaska, Russia, and China, and then Nairobi, Kenya. And with an emphasis obviously on music, but other things that are necessary for everybody's development, because music is the one thing, as we've heard before, that gets into your spirit. It bypasses your intellect and right into it. But there's also, what we call frequency. So do
Yeah.
I know, have I went to a formal school to learn all of this? No.
No.
I went to the School of Hard Knocks, the School of Reading, and the School of Studying, and that's how a lot of this stuff has come about. That I know what I know. So thank God for that part.
You
But
know,
as it's, yeah,
you know,
go
I
ahead.
always call music the gateway drug.
It is the gateway drug. It'll get you in, boy, get you high. Yeah, yeah. And so from there, God has opened a lot of doors, and even reminded me. He said, "I didn't ask you to be a master singer or a master." um, have the degrees and all of that. I asked you to steward the vision. So that kind of gave me a relief on, maybe I need to go find this, go study this, go study this, go to school for this, go school for that. No, not necessarily. What you need to do is, and when I say steward, what I mean by that is the vision is not ours. God gives us the blueprint that he wants us to follow. And as we follow that blueprint, then the other doors are coming open because we are willing and obedient. Then we're able to eat the good of whatever land and place that he puts you in. And then other people are bringing resources and stuff because now they can fit underneath, or your vision is big enough to be as a covering, kind of like in marriage. You have a covering. But if it's not big enough, then they eclipse you instead of God wanting you to eclipse them.
Good. Sasha, I was wondering, you got any questions for our guest today?
Run it.
Okay, so it sounds like if you could do anything,
Uh-huh.
let me see if I'm hearing this correctly, it would be teaching and ministering music all over the world.
It would be doing what I'm doing right now, sweetie. With it, and if it didn't pay me none, which it ain't really paying me, so I do it because I love it. 100%. I love the folks. If you don't love the people, you better get out of the business because you'll quit.
Well, I guess I asked because you sound like a jack of all trades, so you do a lot. So
Woo,
do you like
girl.
all of that? Because I know for me, I'm like, I wish I could narrow mine down to one. So
So you can. Here's what happens. I I was on another show recently, and they were talking about now we've been put in a position where you have gifts, talents, and skills. But when we were growing up, they pigeonholed you into one skill. That doesn't mean you didn't still have other skills. And my example is, I used to bowl. I was actually a semi-pro, well, still am semi-pro bowler. Um, I used to play. If I stuck with it, I would have been playing baseball. That was my first love. Naturally gifted for that. That's another skill. If I'd been in MLB, that's another skill. Singing is another skill. Um, then I was serving in the community, in politics. There's another skill. So it's about 5 to 7 different other skills that are available. But because we were taught then, and you can't go across all of those platforms, we got stuck in being limited. Now we're in a situation where you have multiple gifts, talents, and skills, and people want to pay you for your, I don't like using this word, but I use it, authenticity, or they want to pay you for your integrity and your character now. So as a result of that, as me and Randy always talk, as a result of being authentic, as a result of being real, as a result of being truthful, now we're in a season where with all the things going on, people are looking for people like you all who telling the truth, honest, not perfect. The Bible doesn't talk, when God says about perfect, he doesn't mean perfect and not missing. He means mature. When you're mature, you don't do the same thing that you did last, right? Or you're growing into these things to make you better. So for me, these things have came about, and then because I'm 55, I've just been able to kind of zero in on what do I really, really, really want to do. And so if and it's not my desire, this is what's key. It's the desire that was placed into me that I'm finding the most happiness by doing. Even being on the Zoom like this, I just left a Zoom and I'm on another Zoom. Then I'm doing a counseling session. Then I had one the other day. Then Randy called me. I'm like, Lord, what's going on? He's like, I told you. So, but as I'm being obedient, doing the thing that God is telling me to do, these doors are opening up. And I'm like, wait a minute. Well, now I'm over at Toyota. Well, then I'm over here at LinkedIn. Well, then I'm over here. And they're all centered around the years and years and years of development of Eric. And so now they're saying, hey, can you talk to me? Why are you so authentic? Or why? I'm not saying I don't think I'm authentic. I think I'm a work in progress. Lord have mercy. However, they're going, but I ain't heard nobody talk like that. And like me, when I met Randy, we just kicking it. I was like, hey, Randy, rough around the edges. I'm rough around the edges, but that's my little brother. I love him as such. And now if you say something bad about him, the Detroit may come out, and I try to keep it safe. But that's just being, as we say, being real or just being a regular person. So I'm happy, and then family. I love family, and a lot of these things come about because of what I seemingly thought I lacked growing up. That God now opened the door and blew it up now. So that if that makes sense.
Well, what we were talking about, how we always talk, Sasha, about the, having multiple streams of income. So that phrase, that jack of all trades, but master of none, but oft-time many master of master of one is a master of none. So something like that. I think here it is. It's a jack of all trades is the master of none, but oft-times better than the master of one. So
That's
it's
good.
we always talk about, we say that jack of all trades in a negative way, but it's many times being a jack of all trades is that way to get to those multiple streams of income that we always talk about millionaires have.
Because you ain't pigeonholed.
Yeah.
True. I consider myself, well, my mom calls me a Jill of all trades. And
There you
sometimes
go.
I purposely be like master of none because it's just like being pulled in so many different directions. So I guess how do you feel like I don't take it as a negative thing. It's just more about how do you balance it. So with you having all of this going on and family, what would you say is the biggest key other than God and, being in your purpose? Like, how do you not experience burnout and just know that, you can keep going without all of that?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you the natural side. I'm gonna do two sides. That helps. Sweetie, honestly, um, if I'm tired, I go take a nap.
I've been napping like 4 days. Like,
Listen, no, listen. Let me be real. Let me be real as we are. Look, I just got off working two different jobs. I was working for Toyota, walking 65,000 steps a week. I was not trying to do that. However, it worked because I was losing weight. I got a chance to meet a whole lot of other executives just delivering mail, right? Then I left, then I leave there, and then I would go to work at night working for LinkedIn. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. My other background is I did executive protection for 30 years. So there we go, another one. See, add that into that. So I leave there and go in there. Now we're doing what we got to do to take care of your family and to grow. Was I tired? Sure. I would be sleeping in my car in the lunch hour, taking a break and not eating, which was a benefit for me, not eating bad, but I was forcing myself to eat good so that I could run on premium levels, right? And then when I had the time, it forced me not to waste my time. So when I was asleep, I was asleep. Then I still had my other financial service business to run. So I got clients in multiple states. So then I'm checking them. So everything that God gives you, you can do it. The question now becomes time management. The book, what is it? I can't think of the guy, the author, but it's the 1 Minute Manager. Being able to manage your time wisely. And again, it's all going to go back to God. And then I'm going to say the most important thing for men and especially for women, because a woman can outwork a man. You're just built to do that. But but we have to take time out for you. You have to take time out. My wife would tease me. She'd be like, "You be in there splashing in the bathtub like you orchid a killer whale." I'd be like, "Boy, you got jokes, right?" But what happened was I'd be sitting in there chilling, recuperating, or I have a downtime where God gets to talk to me and drop more nuggets. And or to your point, I'm writing things down so that now that I've gotten it out of my mind or out of my heart or out of my spirit, now God can get the next thing to me. And then I'm honestly, and I will not back up off of this, I make time for God so that we can have communication about what's next. Sometimes it's me talking, sometimes it's God talking, sometimes it's just me sitting there listening, sometimes it's just nothing. It's just I've carved out on purpose a space to make sure that the beginning of the day or whatever time you got, that this time belongs to him to help me do what I need to do. And then again, when I sleep, I sleep. Trust me, my wife said, "Man, he don't never sleep. He run around. Everybody think I'm all the time. He don't never sleep. Oh no, I sleep. Trust me, I sleep. But thank be to God, I um can run on a certain amount of sleep and I'm going and doing what I got to do. But I get those power naps in. And then when it's necessary, I get my 8 hours in. And then necessarily, I'm making sure that I also, 80% of that is eating right as well. And while I'm shedding the extra weight that I don't need so that my body can function at a premium.
Hey, I want to go back to something you said in this conversation. I know it's off of business, but
No, it's good.
that's the way this show is. We may start with
Boy,
business.
come on, boy. Stop playing.
So, hey, you said something earlier, right in this last segment, that you said women are built to work hard, work more than men. Can you
Okay.
can you expound on that for me?
Okay, so here's the deal. When what we notice as men, can we work? Yes, we can. But God built women to be able to handle more things than we do. If you look at the animal kingdom, if you want to do all that, be all deep. The women did the hunting.
Now let's be deep. You know you deep like that, so
You
let's
know what? Here we go. The women, we have the roles. When you look at the lions, the king managed everything, but the women together went out hunting in groups and did the killing. And if it was needing protection, that's what they did. Oftentimes we use the scripture and says, "He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord." Okay, great. That doesn't mean that that man didn't have no favor before she came along. It just means additional was added. However, we fail to realize or even emphasize what about the covering? Because Ruth had Boaz. Boaz still established a place for her to glean and get everything she needed. That came from his kingdomship, his kingship, and his leadership, and all the things that he did to do all of that. But when I look at my wife or in the things that she does, oh yeah, she outworked me. And I don't have no problem with it. And I don't have no, I don't be running around talking about something. I'm a man. Man, please. No, not at all. Don't bother me in one bit.
You know,
However,
I
go ahead.
always, I always talk about, I always relate that to chess, right? So
Yeah.
the king, you got to beat the king.
Bruh,
The
the
queen,
game is over.
that queen can move everywhere on that board.
Man, whoever
Do
came up with that
everything
game is
that
something
none of the
else.
other pieces can do on the board, and that always that's people need to realize that that's a play on life, because the queen, with a good queen, and if you know how to use your queen the right way, you can run the board.
But Randy and Sasha, the game, what everybody has to get, what we all have to do is we have to stop being offended and getting angry at a system that it was never originally designed that way. If it's a European system that we're living in, why am I getting offended when I don't? This is how it was set up. That's not how God actually set it up. And if we take chess, okay, fine, let's take chess. Um, or we take checkers. The game don't get started until you crown me. So you fighting to get to the other side. Or
That's
with
right.
chess, again, that woman get to move, that rook get to move, that castle get to move, that pawn. How many people got to be sacrificed for you to get to where you got to get to? So everybody has a role to play, but that queen gets to do multiple things, and she's necessary. But the game is over when you capture who? The king. That's not a I'm better than you. No, this is not about a better. It's about the role. On the other thing, they was talking about some man having kids and birthing, and I don't want to do all that. I don't get all caught up into that. I wasn't made to have no kids. So why am I ain't having no conversation with you about having no kids? No, because God didn't tell me to have no kids. Duh. So, but God did tell me to sow seed, so I'm gonna do my part and do my part well, right?
I
You know,
got you.
when I'm sitting down having conversation with people who are believing they're of a different, sexuality, you're not going to go against the DNA and biography. So that means you're operating out of your role. So if you're operating out of your role, we got to get you back into your role, whether it has happened because of um, demonic influence, whether it's happened because of wrong teaching. You know, some parents was talking over their kids and wish they had a boy and they got a girl. No, but we don't really want to talk about that. But okay, but you don't have the power how they come out. So God still made them who they made. So now we got to fix that programming. That's programming. You fix programming with better programming and with truth.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so that, and then what happens is it's helping that woman or helping that man reestablish this is who you are, this is how you were supposed to operate, and this is what you're made to be. So now you can walk into that. As long as I keep calling the kid a dumb whatever, he gonna be a dumb whatever. But the minute somebody comes into his life and start telling him, you know, you a king or you a God man in the earth and all that, well, he gonna start straightening up because you've replaced it with better programming, which just happens to be the programming that God said for you to tell him in the first place, or her for that matter.
Got you. So you talked about the European system.
For sure.
This is gonna segue into my next thing that I talk about, right? Because you talked about the European
Yeah,
system. And so I watched the video. I talked to Sacha about it. I actually talked to you about it too. It was a video of a rapper, Vic Mensa, like rapper actor. He does more acting now than he does rapping. I'm a fan of his, but he had a video talking about Black excellence. I'm not gonna play the video, but he basically was saying that Black excellence was it was used to supplant Black power. Black excellence is a fraud and things like that. He wasn't the first person I heard say it. I heard another couple other YouTube people talking about Black excellence, and so I took I don't know if I want to say I didn't like what they're saying. I kind of understood where they were coming from, but I felt like they were using Black excellence in a sense of individual accomplishments. And I never thought of Black excellence that way. So, Sacha, I'm gonna start with you. What do you feel when you think about Black excellence?
You will put me on the spot, right? Because I was going to ask you more about the video since I didn't actually see it, but you didn't. Okay. You didn't ask me that, right? You asked me, what do I feel about Black?
Well, what else do you want to know about the video before you start, so you can get a?
I mean, just kind of give us a synopsis of like what it was about. They're saying you said Black excellence is a scam, so we're not excellent as a people.
No, I don't know if he was saying we're not excellent. I get the feeling that we have gotten to a point where if we talk about Black excellence, I think we're thinking about an individual: Obama, Jay-Z, Michelle Obama, Beyonce.
I look at it as a whole. I will say this: like when people talk about Black excellence, I think about like all the inventions that we've made, like how we're always the creator of something. How people want to emulate us but don't really love us. So
but don't nobody want to be a nigga in the
worst. You know what I'm saying? And like not to really get into this because, like you said, I know y'all already said y'all are radical. I'm quietly radical, right? I pick my battles, so I put it out there, right? I do kind of feel like if we did have to put people in order of superiority, I think Black people are. I'll just leave it at that because I'm like, who's greater than us? Like, think of everything that we've kind of been through, that we overcome, that a lot of us don't come from money where we have generational wealth to pass down, which is why I think like a lot of us are into like the insurance and, teaching financial literacy and just like who you are as a person who God created you to be so you can step into that because over time, all that we are pretty much taught is that we're less than. Like in the beginning, we were only 3/5 of a person. Like it's just, they find, well, people, society finds a way to try to beat us down. So it's interesting. Like the person that you mentioned that was talking about this, I don't know what their background is, but I feel like a lot of times us as Black people also push the narrative and don't even really believe in ourselves. But when it comes down to it, we really do have all of the power.
And I will say that he's a pretty conscious brother. Not, again, I'm not knocking nothing. I'm not trying to knock him when I'm bringing this out. I have a disagreement with what he said, but I'm not trying to knock it. And my only disagreement with it is this: I do believe that we supplanted Black power with other things, but I always feel like Black power, Black excellence, being Black and extraordinary, being the best that you can be. I love Dick Gregory, the ancestor Dick Gregory, when he was here. I love the things he said. But there was one thing that he said about at one point where he was talking about telling your kids that they need to be 10 times better. And he didn't agree with that. But I feel like now that we don't tell our kids that and we don't do that, we got kids that think that you could just go out the house and it's going to happen. No, you have to work. You have to be 10 times better because there's a system that is going to fight you 10 times as hard as you fighting to get to that one first level. And
absolutely, because it's not designed for us. And then I also feel like a lot of us are listening to some of the quote unquote gurus or people that are selling whatever product and looking for some type of cheat code or hack, etc. Which is like, learn how the system works and work within that, because it's not set up for you and you're spending more every time. Like you can make it easier. Like you working harder, not smarter. You working harder ain't even getting nowhere.
Yeah. Not Eric, you doing this. So tell me what you got for me.
I'm agreeing with Sacha. I'm telling you, bring it, baby, bring it. Don't hold nothing back. You tell the truth and shame the devil. No, you are absolutely right. Look, when you start studying, like you were saying, if you pull out books, what is it, from Babylon to Timbuktu, the book Propaganda by Eric Bernays, who is Sigmund Freud's nephew. You pull out 101 Amazing Facts About the Negro. If you go do
the Black civilization,
listen, man, you go pull this stuff out, you find out that DNA wise, it all started with us, but there was a gap of information that was pulled out to make it be what it is today. So, and I think it was I think I sent you that little thing of the guy who was on Wall Street, and he was the first Black guy on Wall Street. Yeah, that dude blew me away. I didn't even know that. So it's so much information that's out there to be like, well, wait a minute, Lord, you telling me I can be this? Yeah, you can't be this. You already were this. You know what I'm saying? So now it forces us to go back to the other stuff on the Black excellence. Well, listen, you could say white excellence, you could say Jewish excellence, you could say European excellence, whatever word you want to put in there, they should be excellent. But I think in the context of what we're talking about, because we are melanated people, not crayon or black, but we get our conversation. You should be excellent, but that also comes with maturity. If all you knew was plastic silverware, until you get exposed to real silverware, you didn't know that there was something better. Right. Well, we talked about perfect or being mature, versus the first thing we want to jump and utter to defend something before we listen. I listened to Dick Gregory as well. I understand, but he's coming from a standpoint, a time of life that we never experienced. So I don't understand. I don't even understand that grind, but I do understand. Yeah, you need to be twice as better or 3 times better. I understand it. Or like you were saying, Randy, we get to a place where we don't tell our kids nothing because, again, each generation wants to make our children do better without giving them the struggle. The problem with that is, even with my own children, is if you don't teach them the struggle in their generation, then they tend to be lazy. And Like I give you example, when we were growing up, we got whooped with everything, switches, spoons, shoes, you name it, they coming around the corner. Well, now in most communities, that's child abuse, right? And or you can get in trouble for that, right? So then now you have to use a better model, but applying the same discipline, right? I know I had an episode, I hit my daughter with a belt, and in this particular issue, I hit her and it went across the side of her face. And my wife called one of our mentor friends or one of my good friends, and he didn't even have to tell me. I was like, hey, man, I got it. And he didn't say nothing. He was just like, listen, you know what happened? This will happen. This will happen. And so just that's what the blood is made for. Got it. And then, or you use a different way to do, because again, like you were saying, Sasha, be in the system, learn how to utilize the system for your advantage. What happens is no one teaches us really how to use the system to our advantage so that we can excel, and that makes us angry because we're trying to better example, what things work here in Texas where I'm at doesn't work the same in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean it does not mean it's not good. So it was, I mean, and then for me, it took me 8 years to adjust because I was hating it. I'm in my promised land hating it because I'm not understanding the rules to the game. The rules to the game down south is not the rules to the game up north. So when we learn to adjust, then this is how we handle it. But in terms of black excellence, you should be excellent. You should be excellent in brushing your teeth, excellent in combing your hair, excellent in washing your behind, as my daddy would say, excellent in putting out the best presentation that you can present to the people because that's what they see. But that comes back to what you were saying earlier. What's your childhood like? What's your self-esteem like? Nobody can fix your self-esteem but you. And we fix that by reading, or should read. Let me see how great we really are, and it may come through your parents, may not come through your parents. It may come through person at church, school bus driver, whoever. That's the way to do it. But these colloquial phrases that they're using, I think sometimes are just talking points. And I'm learning they mean well, even though they may be very or grossly off in their information.
Okay. I like that. I like
You like
that.
that, Randy? That was that was my educational response. You see that? You see my look?
I saw you. You see them rough edges are smoothing out as we get older.
Yeah, because I don't have time to be playing with that. To go back to Sasha's point, I don't have no energy for all that. It doesn't. Yeah, okay. I'll fight. Trust me. Oh, baby, I got a whole bunch in me. But for what? That's light work.
You got to pick your battles.
Yeah, well, I ain't got time to be losing all my licenses and all the stuff I deal with.
That part too.
I'm not battling. I'm with Dr. Dre. What you think all the guns is for?
Listen, and even better than that, I got people to handle that. I got good attorneys.
Yeah, so I'm not doing all that. We're not battling. I'm not fighting.
Yeah, I'm too pretty to be battling. I can't be messing up my skin and my nails again. Man, I ain't got time for all that.
But yeah, I wanted to get y'all take on that for that reason, because I've just seen a lot of the, I would say, what would we call them? Well, Sasha, I guess you would be still considered what are you, a millennial?
I am. I'm surprised every time I find out, but yeah, I'm a
millennial / Generation X, because you're closer to the Generation X than probably the millennial.
There you go, calling me out again. But yeah, okay.
Everybody on here is auntie and uncle now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Fine, I'm cool. I'll go with it. They call me OG, so I roll with that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't YN. YN is over.
Is that what it is?
YN is over. So I take OG or I take uncle. But I notice a lot of the millennials, Generation Z. It seems that they have gone away from. It's not going away from the blackness, of course. Many of I would say many of this generation is probably more conscious and understanding of Black history than many of us ever was at their ages. Just because the overly inundated information that you can get online and everything like that. So I mean, so I would say that, but I do feel that we take words, and I'm gonna go a little off a little bit here, but you take words and you put a word in front of it in some kind of way, that word becomes negative. So
Correct.
You take black, and if you take black, which in our dictionary, black is everything negative, and you put it in front of excellence, and now all of a sudden it's a bad thing. All of a sudden that's not what we should be fighting for. You take masculinity, you put the word toxic in front of it, and now all of a sudden masculinity is a bad thing. And the funny thing, I would say they don't even take a word and put it in front of femininity or being feminine. It's automatically something is wrong with being feminine.
Well, because it's a less threatening word.
And so for a woman, they should be bosses. They don't want to be feminine or what I'm saying. I have noticed over the last year or so that women are starting to say they want to get back to that soft side, the soft.
Oh yeah, the soft girl era when that was a thing.
So I have noticed that, but I will say that we take words. There's Eric, like I always say, excellent toxic masculinity. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity to me. Either you masculine or you a bitch ass nigga. One of the two. That's just how you either masculine or let's stop calling. That's not being masculine.
Or you're exhibiting some behaviors that are not correct.
You're a bitch ass nigga and you do bitch ass stuff, and that's just what it is.
Pretty much what it is. Yeah, that's what we put in the streets.
And then what that does is it makes other men look bad because you have your bitch assness out there. And most times, what do? We prop up the negativity more than we prop up the people that's doing right.
Correct.
And so that's kind of where I see it. Now, people that's listening, Eric is my big brother, and we came and I met Eric in church. And yes, I do know God, but some of the things I say may make me seem like I don't know him, but I do. So
not judging your relationship.
Ain't nobody studying you, bro. Ain't nobody studying. So we had Jesus had people in the Bible with him who was cussing. So it is what it is.
You're right. Yeah,
that's what Son of a mother! Oh Jesus, dang it! Okay, yeah. Come on now.
That's what I got Eric for. Eric helps to balance me out.
Bruh, because we all need balance and trust you.
We all need balancing every now and then. Got to keep guys balanced so they can ride down the street right.
Yeah, I don't need my wheel alignment messed up. I need to be straight.
Oh man, so I was also with that Black Excellence piece, just thinking about, like I said, I went down to New Orleans. This is the program is centered for Black firefighters. If anybody knows anything about Black firefighters, in the firefighter profession in America, we are only, as far as Blacks, men and women, we're only about 7%. I would say as far as Black women in the fire profession, it may be about 1%. So what I do love about the program is that we put together a bunch of Black firefighters from all over the country, get together, get a chance to fellowship with one another, and get a chance, especially for those of us that are in this Atlanta area where we see a lot of Black firefighters. We might be getting spoiled where we don't understand that there are people that's going through something that we don't see because we are the majority, whereas everybody else, we're talking to people that's 2025 and they're saying, I'm the first Black female captain on this department. Men talking about, I'm the first Black chief that's ever been in this department. And those are the things that we're still dealing with. So, speaking of Black excellence, that's what I saw there. You know what I'm saying? As I was in New Orleans, I saw a bunch of Black men and women. And although it is a program that is centered for Black people, there were some white people there too that take part of the program and want to learn about different things because the program, while it does teach us our Black history in the fire service, it teaches Black history in general. It's also all about fire and learning about how to be a better fire man in moving up, fireman or woman, and moving up to a chief. One of the people that helps out with the program is actually a female who is the commissioner of Chicago Fire. So she is one of the people that's over the program and teaches at the program. So we learn a lot about how the different things, and all I saw that week was Black excellence, Black power, Black ingenuity, Black people doing things that we were told that we couldn't do, that was kind of hid from us for years. And now, we're starting to find out that, a lot of times, there was a Black woman firefighter in New York. She was the first Black firefighter in New York back in like the late 1800s, early 1900s. A lot of people don't even know about that type of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
But look at your excellence, because I remember you, and you weren't even in doing anything with the fire department. And look at the amount of exposure that in your due diligence or your excellence to be better from your mom and or your dad, for that matter, that has led you all the way to where we are right now. That is extremely excellent, noteworthy, and I tell you all the time, worthy to be praised, and it's encouraging.
Well, man, I
Because
appreciate you, brother.
oh well, you know what's up.
Not to
You know
make-
how
not to
you know
make
how I do. Yeah, hey, listen. I tell you, you motivate me. You help keep me young. You let me know I can still do it. But
you can't.
again, that's what I'm saying. I'm not you. Hey, that's Sasha get to know why I'm grinding like I'm grinding, because again, it's always the negative is pushed because that's the programming versus the positive being pushed that you can actually do it. Am I going to there we go, Lord, that's that scripture. What did he say? I can't think of it. He said I'm older now, but I'm 80, but I'm still able to take the mountain. Well, he wasn't taking the mountain when he was 20 and 30. They was taking the mountain when they was 80.
Mm-hmm.
But he better now at 80 than he was at 40 or 60. So wait a minute. So now he's more refined, just like wine. It was better. It don't get better until you cork it when you 80. But it had to go sit and marinate. But if you touched it before then, you lose the potency or the efficacy of its taste when it's time to open at 80. Well, who teaches? Man, it's a good point.
Preacher.
Man, bro, come on now. Who teaches the value of opening it in the future?
Mm.
But if no one teaches you the value of opening in the future, you want everything microwave. Now I'm old enough to, be around where we did not have microwaves. We heated up our food in the oven, or we put it under the water and we steamed it, getting it ready in the little pans, and we heated it up that way. Well, who talks about that? The value of sitting and waiting in preparation. There's a cost or preparation. There's a joy in getting the food just like you made it when you first made it, or it being better the second time or even the third time around. But when we're quick, now there is a value in the speed up process, but the value in the speed up process does not compare to the value of the original. But if no one teaches you about we were talking about that with fires. If no one teaches you the fundamentals of how it all started, you have a lack of appreciation for those things, right? So this is, you closing on the house thing, or you did and gotten all that stuff working and doing your, man, that's noteworthy. You went to a whole nother state. That's noteworthy, but who celebrates you and tell you, hey, Randy, you balling out. Hey, Randy, you doing a good job. Hey, Sasha, you doing a good job. We don't hear that. We hear the negative first. So if the constant drip on you is negative, it's no wonder that we do a little positive things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I had to and so hanging out with you or hanging out with y'all or being around other people that are younger than me, they be like, bro, how you know all this information? I've been living,
Facts.
and because I'm living and have lived through it, my decisions to do a certain thing now is because I've taken that math problem and worked it every which way it can work to now know what it is. So no matter what you say, no, this is the end result. So I'm not going to waste any time with it. You got to figure that out. I ain't got to figure that out because now I'm on the other side of 50. You
Gotcha.
know, I'm on the other side of, I'm dealing with my parents, you know. Um, I was telling my wife about her mom when in our relationship when it wasn't so great. And then I went in and started taking care of her the last 3 or 4 years that she was alive. And she's like, "You gonna be mean to my mom?" I said, "Baby, I can't be mean to your mama." And she said, "Well, why not?" I said, "When your mom goes home and lays down in the bed at night after I leave her, she has to deal with her own mental issue, Satan, God, and herself, and knowing that at 60 something years old, I can't move by myself. I don't have control over myself. That mentally will bother you more than anything else. So the least that I can do is serve her to heaven and be kind to her on the remaining season." Don't have to do that, but that comes from maturity and experience and learned. You don't get that in just in a book. Like we was talking about fighting fires. You don't get that just in a book.
No, you
You
don't.
gotta you gotta go and be like, whoa, whoa, oh, that's hot. No, dog, that's hot. Okay. And it ain't no, and you be like, ooh, that fire will consume you. Then you got the one where that control fire to put you in it. So you really know, you be like, oh shoot, thank God for wearing all this material, doing all this stuff so that you know until you get into one of those real life situations where you like, oh snap! You doing the you running the marathon. Now I got an attitude with you now because now I'm gonna have to go try to figure out walk a marathon and then run a marathon.
Let's dial that back. I ain't never
Yeah, yeah.
ran a marathon yet because the marathon is 26 miles.
Well, no, that one. What is that thing that you was doing? No, I ain't
10K,
talking
10K is the
about, there
longest
you go.
I
There you go. That's all
I
right.
went 8 miles. That's the longest I've
That's
ever.
all right. You still did one I ain't did. I
I
done
ain't
ran.
David, I ain't David
Wait,
Goggins out here. I ain't.
hey,
I'm not.
hey, wait. Look, I did a look. I did a marathon, but I was running from folks and running from bullets, so we good.
Oh Lord.
Let's dial that one back too. Let's dial that one. I don't even want to bring those up. Don't even want to bring those up.
And I ain't getting no trophy. I was like, woo, won't have to worry about them no more. Thank you. No, go ahead. So yeah,
So, hey, you talked about that. We're gonna end in this real soon. But you talked about this the demon and she was with her own mind. She got to sit with herself, God, and the devil. You sent me something a few days ago about the demon. Remember that?
the name. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
and so you asked me
Yeah,
my opinion on it at the time.
yeah, yeah.
Before I give my opinion, I want to know your opinion on it. Sasha, he probably can explain it to you better than I did because he sent it to me. So
Oh, you
Okay.
so silly. No, it's just listen. We all been in church and all of this, so we know. There's let me say it this way. There's another video. This lady's name is Dr. Yafabe. And what I've come to learn now is not to be judgmental, but just to listen to the information and then go look and research and see if it's factual.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times the information may be factual and even practical. We just may not have never heard it, or it flies in the wind in our face of something that's not that we haven't heard before. And so one of the things that she talked about, which was, and I'll get to that, which is the glamour of grammar. And so the English language is a book of spells, or so it doesn't mean what it means, what it says. So there's a lot of definition of words that we say that when you go back and study it out in the etymology dictionary or study it in the later dictionaries of the words, you find out you're like, well, wait a minute, that don't mean that.
yeah, like
So
we were
in
talking
the
about the word queen.
yeah,
Yeah. So I don't
so
know.
when you
Have we talked about this
go
before,
ahead,
Sasha?
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
So the word queen, I can't remember when you go back into the etymology of it and in the old
It
language.
don't mean queen.
It's old English, or if it was old English, or if it was some type of Nordish language.
Yeah.
But queen broke down into QWEN,
Okay.
and basically what that meant was a harlot
Okay.
in their language. And when I read that, it made me go back to thinking about Malcolm X, the movie X, and even in the book, but the movie more than anything was when he made him go through the dictionary and write every word in the dictionary. And he said you got to learn the words, you got to learn what these words really mean, because what you saying is not what they're saying. So what you think is peace, they using something else for peace. What you think is a treaty, they mean something totally different when they are talking about a treaty. And he said you got to know these the meaning of the word, and then you need to know the opposite meaning of the word in the underlying meaning of the word, because so many of the English language words can have 2 and 3 different definitions and be the same damn word. So go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you're good. So in the video, as I'm remembering, it just says demon, and demon don't mean necessarily a spirit, even though we know that they're fallen angels and Satan and all of that. But the biggest thing is it's what thoughts or programming have been put into your mind that have captured you, that allows to fester to keep you in bondage. Because most of the time, if you go scripturally, scripture says that Satan is going to God day and night because he's the accuser of the brethren. But he's a fallen angel or a disobedient angel at that. So his job is to always do opposite. I'll often tell people there's only 1 or 2 people holding up your blessing. Number one, either Satan. And if you move him out of the way, it's either what you've been saying or your lack of belief or taking action in. But that also comes from how I see myself. Well, how I see myself has been based on programming and our slave captors who have orchestrated on what we see, what we read, and how we think, feel, and believe. And so when you look at the that word demon or demon, old boy was breaking it down, and I'm still reading more of that myself. I just like, so you're trying to tell me, hold on, I'm being held in captive by a package that Satan done sent me, and I opened it excited about the package, but it ain't my package, and I should have never opened it, and I should wrote on there return to sender. You know what I'm saying? So it's amazing, but it's also insightful. And I don't know, Randy, that's pretty much about it. It was just the word
Yeah.
had me bugged out, just like another word. I just seen you that other video, desert. The word desert, when you think of the word desert, the first thing that comes up to our mind, we think of desert with sand.
Mm-hmm.
But the word desert doesn't mean that. It means a desert in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Or when we go to court, when we go to court, we think we're using proper English. And they looking at me like, oh, here go this Negro here go another fool. They don't even really understand the unabridged language, or there's a whole nother level going on of conversation that
Are
we
we
know not
starting to
of.
talk? You starting to get into that Black Laws Dictionary now?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. We get. Listen. Look. I'm a pastor who ain't stupid and who ain't ignorant. Okay, you
So,
better know what you better know, or we could talk about what you were saying before. Early on, the reason why you have so many churches that are bound or held in captive is because the 501 501 503 stop 501 501c3,
mm-hmm.
and not that was enacted by the Rothschilds initially, and then Lyndon B. Johnson, who reenacted it to try to take control of black churches, and then reinstituted underneath the faith-based initiative, and or what you should be doing is the 508c1a, which allows you to have freedom and autonomy to be able to speak, say, and do what you want to do.
Say that one more time.
508 508c1a.
C1A. Okay. Remember that, people.
Yes.
508C1.
Yeah, it's all there. It's just
Okay.
how you have to proceed. And you see a lot of our congregational members or a lot of the churches, because that at one time was the powerful voice. So the way to capture them, whether it be through Margaret Sanger, we know Margaret Sanger in the black community, what she did, and how she paid black pastors and black women to have abortions to control the church, right? Um, and then the other things that came out as a result of that. So these things are programmings to keep black excellence from moving forward. But God always has a ram in the bush. So if everything is cyclical, I think Sasha would like this one. If everything is cyclical in a circle, well, if it started with you, it's going to end with you. I just got to make sure that I know how to navigate in the system, not to bust nobody out. I don't need to cap on nobody. I just need to go be great and operate in the sphere I'm supposed to operate in. And the information is sitting there right in front of you, like you gave with Malcolm X. Go study the definition. Go read that. Wow. Or as they say, Your slave captor is not going to teach you about your success so that you can overthrow them. But it's still there nonetheless. So I'm not being great because I'm trying to overthrow you. I'm being great because that's where I come from. And that's the standard that has been put forth. So now I'm not even fighting with you. I'm really fighting to make sure that I finish stewarding precisely what God told me to do. That's the main ingredient, whether it be in your household, whether it be marriage. We talk about marriage stuff. God was like, why are you struggling with your wife? I was like, yeah, because she ain't. When she can't see it, she's supposed to be able to see it through you.
Good. That's good right there. That's good right there.
I mean, and it's not. What'd you say, Sasha?
Was it, ain't it? Mic drop.
Yeah, but listen.
Everybody want to lead.
I know, but listen, and here's the deal. I'm not trying to hear I thought when I was growing up, I didn't want to lead. I didn't want all the responsibility until now. I'm in the season, where my dad, he's at hospice. He's doing this thing. It seemed like he ain't trying to die now. So he at home chilling, doing this thing. And I was telling my family, I was like, man, when he go when he want to. Let that man do what he want to do. So it is what it is. But now I came to the place, or the scripture talks about when David, King Uzziah died because he grabbed the Ark of the Covenant, and that's when David saw the Lord. But the reason why David saw the Lord after he died was because God gave David an instruction on how to handle the Ark, and he didn't handle it incorrectly. But someone died because of your disobedience. But then he heard about how the Ark of the Covenant was being blessed at Obed-Edom's house. He repented, sent for the ark, and he was so excited that he had a second opportunity to be perfect, mature. Now he praising God. Now who he was giving money to, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. But every seventh step, he still blessed somebody all the way till he got back home. And so much so, when he got back home, he was like, my house won't be barren. I can have a seed. But his wife clowned on him and said, oh, you out there acting foolish and you clowning, which goes another example. The wife doesn't come first. He was praising God because now he get to have a kid, but he was praising God because he followed the instruction. So my number one goal is to follow God. And if I'm following God correctly, one or two things will happen. My wife will get going on the vision or she'll leave, not because I'm trying to get rid of her, but because she doesn't want to fall in line to help as a helpmeet, to assist me in stewarding the vision, because the vision doesn't belong to me. The vision belongs to God. When God put us here, we all have a vision and an assignment to do a certain thing. I want my woman or the woman to be able to assist me. And this is where it comes in, because you can do a far better job at being my helpmeet, because you have you have the ability in you to manage multiple things, whereas I can stay focused on the one or two different things.
Because she can move around the whole board.
Babe. Message.
Hey, so I was gonna go back to the demon.
Go ahead.
I didn't watch it enough, and I haven't done no study on it. Just my initial watching it. It made me think about something I used to always say when we used to go to church, and people always be like, "Oh, the devil made me do it." And I used to be like, "Man, the devil's sitting in the corner, like I ain't did nothing. That's all self-check."
But he sent the package though.
That's all self-check. You did that on
look. He sent the package.
Yeah,
but he sent the package though.
And I agree that sometimes the package is sent. I agree sometimes the devil don't do nothing. You just sit there and self-check yourself and say the wrong things to yourself. You do the wrong things because you want to do something you want to do, and instead of taking the time out to meditate, pray, figure out what you should be doing, a lot of times I don't even. It's almost like LeBron in his early career. If you sit out there, you could just step off of him and let him shoot that three. It's probably not gonna go. And so it's self-check. You know what I'm saying? It's just self-check. You know, and
preaching,
so
boy, you preaching.
So
ask Michael Jordan. He was self-checking himself for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But they don't want to read the paper. I want to do all that. They take too long. Okay, well there you have it.
Yeah, I mean you just have to that's what I got out of the video.
No, but think about Randy. Think about this. think about this. That Satan is not a demon. Satan
Mm-hmm.
is a fallen angel, a
Yeah.
disobedient angel at that.
Mm-hmm.
So these are these terminologies that have been put in there.
True.
When I was telling somebody, they was like, Eric, ain't no such thing as Satan working for you. I said, go read Hebrews 1:14. It says, are not they all ministering spirits sent forth to minister to those that should be called the heirs of salvation? You are an heir of salvation. God made you higher than an angel. Angels work for you. So if angels work for you and they hearken to what you say, then the good angels ain't holding up your stuff. So then that means the only angels that could be holding up anything is the other angels that are bad or fallen or disobedient. So then now, if they're the ones doing it, once you find out what he done stole from you, you have a right to go back to God and say, look, he over here being disobedient, because he's not going to go against his programming, because his programming now is to be disobedient. He chose to be disobedient. And if you in Detroit, I say, okay, well, since I'm your pimp and I own you, I'm gonna put you out on Woodward and go get my money.
Mm. Here you go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen. Oh, get
You gonna
down.
take it
Let
all the
go
way
out the
back to, you gonna take it all the way back to
go
the pimp, huh?
go get. Listen. Go
Okay.
get my money. But see, the scripture says, if you find a thief and he be found guilty, he must repay sevenfold with interest.
That's
When
true.
you study that out and you find out how much he stole, you don't want got a problem because you devalued what it was he stole. He
You sound
stole
like
emeralds and rubies, but you only charging him on the diamonds.
hey,
Well,
hey, watch
now
this.
we understand.
Hey, watch
Go
this.
ahead.
You
Yeah.
sound like you're about to start talking about reparations. Ah, I'm just
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, listen. Everybody's supposed to have it. Do whatever you want to do with it. That's your business, but it
hey,
still
I'm just
belongs to
messing with
you.
you. Hey, Eric,
But
man, look,
yeah.
we are a little bit over time. So what I'm
Okay,
gonna
my
do,
bad.
I need you to tell the people how to get in contact with you and some of the stuff that you got coming up.
So email is real simple. It's back to heaven, all one word, back to heaven 7, the number 7 at gmail.com.
So is that
You
back
can
to
find,
heaven BACKTO
yeah,
or the number two?
BAC, yeah, BAC, like back to TO, heaven, HEAVEN, the number 7 at gmail.com. You can find me on, what is it, Facebook under Eric Maurice Lampkin, or our Back to Heaven Facebook page. You can look for me. I can friend you if that's something you want to do, because that's kind of reserved just for friends and families that I know, just to keep things down for people not clowning and acting a fool. I'm on all the other outlets. You can find me Back to Heaven Music Ministries or Back to Heaven 7. Working on 2 books. It's called How to Grow Through the Doo-Doo, and it's better to chase a dream than to live a nightmare. Um, the other thing is you can also find me every Friday on Facebook. It's Praise God It's Friday from a secret location. I do that, and then we also have our Saturday services, which are 5 to 7 Central Standard Time, 6 to 7 or 8 or 9, however long we go, Eastern Standard Time. Um, we have people that plug in from Nepal, Nigeria, and various different places. And God is just actually just broadcasting it out and open it up. More so for us just word of mouth. If I minister to you and been a blessing to you, I always tell somebody, hey, sow a seed if you want to. If you don't want to, we keep the ministry going on based on a person's willingness to want to sow and give. Counseling sessions, we do counseling. I do counseling. My wife do counseling on any number of subjects or topics. Again, our job is simple. My job is to create a platform or create a program for you to get to where God wants you to be at your very best.
All right. Tell my sister I said what's up.
Yes,
Um,
sir. Yes, sir. I'm gonna give you the number so you can text it yourself. No, I'm just teasing. Yeah, yeah.
I think I got Tasha's number.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, don't be scared. Don't be
I
scared.
just go through
Don't be
you.
scared. Yeah.
Sasha,
Oh no.
tell us how to get in contact with you and what you got going.
I always hate this question. First of all, can I just talk about, like, Eric, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate learning everything that you got going on. I'm going to be looking out for like everything that you have going, especially that second book. Forgot,
Oh,
like Living
how to grow
Purpose.
through the doo doo.
No. The second one, it was like it's better to live.
Better to chase a dream than to live a
Yes, I
nightmare.
love that.
Yeah.
Like, yes, like, but you know me, just honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm taking a little hiatus right now. I'm enjoying my summer, but you know, I'm always giving out information, sharing any way I can. So, you know, if it's anything real estate, accounting, tax, financing, you know,
Oh, I need to know about that.
expertise.
Yeah, you need to send me your stuff because I got questions and I got people that need to know. And I love to, I am the networking guru.
Okay, well, that's kind of what I need to do when I figure out exactly which direction I want to go. It changes from month to month based on the experiences I have. So
Hmm.
I just had a
Hmm.
closing in May, and woo, that loan officer took me. Woo, it challenged me, and I had to grow in ways that I didn't even think were possible because I had to put
For
Sasha
sure.
aside to make sure that my buyer had the best interest. You know,
For
so
sure.
yeah, so trying to figure out like with everything I have going on, where do I really want to focus? And I have a lot of things going on in June because it's just like a lot of birthdays, family things going on. I'm actually going to Arkansas tomorrow. And then my grandmother's, her 85th birthday party is next Saturday. So I've just kind of been chilling out for June. But I think what I want to do is just focus mainly on real estate, but use like the accounting and the financing as like more support. But when people actually need
Hmm.
those services, I think I'm actually looking for people I can partner with that I can refer them out to it.
Mm,
Because it's just
that's a
exhausting
conversation.
for me. It's too
Mm,
exhausting for me. Let me just say that. Like you kind of spoke on like pretty much being a helpmeet, and overall my
hmm.
life goals is to be a helpmeet. Like I have a lot of skills, but I don't necessarily think I want to be the one running all the businesses. I don't mind supporting other people. Like for instance, having a team. You know, maybe bringing on more real estate agents when it gets to that point where I can like kind of check
I
in and
love
do
it.
all of that. But
I
yeah.
love it.
So just like I said, from being drained last month, I'm really trying to figure out like what is
So
the
where are
best.
you located?
I'm in North Carolina. Yep, I'm in Charlotte.
Oh, you know what, girl? We need to talk. You in
All
North
right.
Carolina? See,
What part of
yeah,
Dallas? I
I
mean,
get.
I said what part of Dallas because I used to live in Dallas, but
Dallas is a big place. No, I'm over by actually Louisville, Capel area. So
okay,
I'm literally 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes from DFW,
okay,
and literally like 20 minutes from Dallas Love. So I get to fly in, fly out, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's networking is key, sweetie. Just keep
yeah,
doing what you're doing, and it's called all platforms. And anytime you know this guy, this young dude right here, so you got to be good people. So it's conversation.
yeah. I'm looking to network with people that, unfortunately, what I'm finding the challenge is they have my work ethic because you know I meet people and then they
So
start to dig.
ain't nobody gonna have your work ethic. That now
Well,
you just
80% of my work ethic.
no, but listen to what I'm saying. This is a beautiful thing. I do not have my wife's work ethic. She came out the womb being a manager, bruh. Okay, I'm telling
Yeah,
you, look at me, look at my face. However, I have gleaned from her work ethic and her level of integrity and her attention to detail
yeah,
on the subject matter. But long term, that's not how I'm wired. So because of that, I know now what things I need to be detailed with and what things I need to not be as detailed with or pass that on to people that are specialists. In the arena that I'm in, once I finish having the licenses, I'm not going to do all of that all the time. I still have a desire to go jump in a couple of bowling tournaments. But my main thing is I'm here as a resource to counsel, to educate, and even pass on to different people, even while I'm on the Zoom or conferencing with those people who are specialists and experts. I got a business partner now, 20 years in the military. Bruh, he is super detailed, partially because his gifting and talent and his background. I'd be like, Heath, that's too much. Eric, but
yeah,
I'd be like, that's too much. But that's his gifting. So when he gets to teaching, I sit down as a student and I listen and learn. And I'd be like, bruh, he'd be like, Eric, did I do right? I'd be like, you were phenomenal, bruh. Wow. But I don't have to do all of that. You see what I'm saying? Or he'll say
right.
the same thing to me, or I'll call Randy. I'm like, hey, when Randy doing real estate. He helped me out with some stuff. He said, well, yeah, check out this and check out this. And I was like, bruh, I didn't even know that. Well, here's the key. I ain't got to be the expert. I just got to know who do I need to go to that I can go to at the time I need to, that it's going to have the character, the integrity, your word, the work ethic to get that part done. And that goes across all platforms to make everybody easier.
So Sacha, give us your contact so people can get in contact with you in North Carolina.
Look, I was proactive this time. It's right there as Spice Realty.
I see. It's Sacha on Instagram.
You said on Instagram?
Wait a minute.
That's my Instagram. It's funny that we follow each other on Instagram. You didn't even know. Yeah, as Spice.
Yeah, you know what? Because we just follow each other. I don't necessarily look at it until I agree. You know, when I look at your name on Instagram is when I'm tagging you in these posts.
Yeah, I mean it's so close to my real name, you know. Yeah, it just doesn't have it's not like S.
Hey, man, she got a superstar name already. Sacha.
She do. She do. I like it. I like it.
That name.
I like it.
Spicer.
Man, I like it.
Name already.
Listen, I am flabbergasted, floored, and totally excited to finally get to meet you face to face through this. This is so awesome.
Likewise. Okay, so Randy,
Huh?
My bad. I was like giving Randy, like, since he always want to put me on the spot, I wanted to be like, tell the people what you got going on, and
yeah, what you got going on, bro?
What I got going on, as you can see, I'm moving. I got to get the rest of this stuff packed up, and I got to be out of this apartment by July the 22nd. Going into a home in the Atlanta area.
Okay, congrats.
I'm proud of you.
So
proud of you, boy.
Doing that, and other thing I got going on is you can go to at Randy R. Graham on Instagram. From there, if you go into the bio, you can hit that link and you can find out everything else I got going on. I got a book that you can buy on Amazon.
See, I gotta up my game.
If you need any real estate help, I'm here. My number is 404-438-7113. Don't hesitate to call. If you're on some bull crap, I will hang up. And then only other thing I have going on is I'm in the process of getting. I'm actually looking for my editor now. I do have a person reading it for me right now, just looking it over, telling me what they think about it. But I did write a screenplay, and so I'm in the process of getting it edited so that I can shop it. So we'll see how that goes. It was first time I wrote one. Don't ask me how I wrote a screenplay in the middle of all the other stuff I got going on. But and probably by the next time we record, I should be to pass my paramedic test, and I'll be okay. So yeah, we got about a bunch of high functioning people on this thing that just do a whole bunch of stuff.
Boy, so you awesome, boy.
But all of the stuff that we do, it leads to something. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not just random things. We have careers, or we have visions that we have going. And so, you know, I do stuff for my fire career, and that's my fire career. That's my main career. But then I have side things that I do for that career. So again, at Randy R. Graham, that's RANDY RGRAHAM. You can hit me there on Instagram. And there it is. Eric, I thank you again for coming. You know, I always enjoy talking to you. I learn so much from you when I talk to you.
Bless your kidneys.
Sacha, you know, you the superstar here.
Oh my goodness, if you don't stop that.
Hey man, look, if I just be honest, I probably had about 15 Negroes ask me, hey, who's that young lady that you got? Who is that?
You know, you told them I'm a realtor, loan officer, and CPA based out of North Carolina.
I do. I tell them all. And I always tell them that we started real estate together. They like, how you meet her? I'm like, we started real estate together.
Hey, you know, greatness hang together, especially when they look good. That's all I'm saying.
So you know, Eric, thanks again for joining us.
My pleasure, bro.
You know, it's always my pleasure to be on here with you. We're gonna see you next time. And thank you again, Wealthy Thoughts. We out.
Right.
We
Thank
out.
you.